This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Tesla just can't seem to get its Giga factory in Berlin up and running. It continues to run into water problems. The area around the plant is suffering from low groundwater levels and droughts, and critics say Giga Berlin will double the water usage in the area. Even government officials admit there won't be enough water to go around once Tesla ramps up production. So environmentalists filed a lawsuit, and if the court rules in their favor, that will mean further delays, or it could even stop the project altogether. And that Berlin plant is vital to Tesla's expansion plans, and any setback would be a huge blow to the company. Stellantis posted its first full-year earnings after its merger, and it sure knows how to make money. It sold 6.5 million vehicles worldwide, which brought in $172 billion in revenue, and more than $15 billion of that dropped to the bottom line. That's a profit margin of 11.8%, which is quite impressive. And in North America, the profit margin was even better, 16.3%. In fact, the company's North American operations, which really means the Chrysler Group, generated more profit than the rest of Stellantis put together. New model introductions really drove up those profit numbers. Last year, Stellantis launched new models of the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the Jeep Wagoneer, and the Wrangler 4xe. Stellantis made so much money in the U.S. that its UAW workers are getting record profit-sharing checks, $14,670. Last year, they got $8,000. The profit sharing is based on a formula that gives UAW workers about $900 for every 1% of profit margin that the company earns in the United States. That used to be capped at $12,000, but that cap came off in the last contract negotiations in 2019. Retailers that are located near UAW plants love it when those profit-sharing checks come in. While most workers sock away some of that money in their savings accounts, they also go on a spending binge. UAW workers at General Motors will get about $10,000 in profit sharing this year, and Ford workers will get about $7,400. Put it all together, and UAW workers earned over $1.5 billion in profit sharing checks for the work they did last year.
Mobility is becoming electric, connected, and autonomous, just like the manufacturing world. But will always be one thing: a reliable partner for our customers.
Here's more proof that it's really hard to launch a brand new vehicle. Lucid says it's recalling a little over 200 of its Air sedans, which is probably most or all of the vehicles that it's made since production started in September, due to a safety issue. Unfortunately for Lucid, this is not a software problem that can be fixed with an over-the-air update. It's a hardware issue related to front dampers that could have been assembled improperly by its supplier. Lucid says it's not aware of any failures, but the news sent its shares down 5% anyways. Cupra, the performance division of Seat, which is part of the VW Group, announced that it's expanding its electric vehicle lineup. A production version of the Tavascan concept will launch in 2024, followed by the Urban Rebel in 2025. And like VW's other EVs, they're based on the MEB platform. But look at how much more expressive these designs are compared to, say, the ID3 or ID4. They feature big, bold front ends with a lot of sculpting to the surface of the body, and in the case of the Urban Rebel, a huge wing off the back. The Tavascan combines 2 electric motors at each axle for all-wheel drive and a total output of 225 kilowatts or 300 horsepower. Like other MEB vehicles, a battery pack with 77 kilowatt hours of usable space is available. The Urban Rebel, on the other hand, will feature all-wheel drive, 250 kilowatts, or 335 horsepower of continuous power, or a peak output of 320 kilowatts, or 429 horsepower. and the ability to do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.2 seconds. It's said to be priced around 20 to 25,000 euros. Cupra is also launching MetaHype, a new collaborative space in the metaverse where people can create and share experiences. Wuling is probably best known outside of China for its small and affordable all-electric mini EV that's been tearing up the sales charts. But it's offering two new ICE vehicles, the Victory and the Giga. The Victory is a 3-row van-like vehicle that features a new roughly 170 horsepower, 1.5-liter turbo engine and an upgraded operating system. The Giga is a 7-seat MPV that is expected to launch later this year. Wuling also announced a new propulsion brand called Ling Power that it says will give customers more high-performance and intelligent powertrain solutions, but it didn't go into any more detail. We'll keep an eye for if and when it does. And here's a cool look at how automotive materials can be used for other purposes. Pingree Detroit is a company that makes handmade footwear, home goods, and pet accessories from recycled leather and seatbelts from cars. But it kept getting requests from customers for dog leashes, and Pingree couldn't find enough material to make them. It even started looking in garbage dumps and scrap yards. That's when an employee at Autoline, which makes airbags and seatbelts, saw a news story about what Pingree was doing. So Autoline reached out to help. The supplier is now donating scrap leather, nylon, webbing, and airbag material to Pingree so it can make dog leashes and other products.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Here's an example of just how global the auto industry is. Swedish freight company Einride just purchased 200 Class 8 electric trucks from Chinese automaker BYD, which will be deployed in the United States. It's BYD's largest electric heavy-duty truck order outside of Asia. The trucks are equipped with 563 kilowatt-hour iron phosphate battery packs, which provide up to 200 miles of range. They also feature a number of ADAS technologies, including automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, and blind spot detection. The trucks will be assembled at BYD North America's plant in California, with deliveries starting this month. And there's some big news about acquisitions in the supplier industry. Tenneco is getting bought by an investment firm called Apollo for $7 billion in cash, and it's taking Tenneco private. Right now, Tenneco is barely profitable. It made a net profit last year of only $35 million on sales of over $18 billion. We'll have to keep an eye on what Apollo wants to do with its new investment. It recently bought a Japanese chemical company and a Canadian plastics company that supply the auto industry. It bought up a lot of car dealer real estate, and it's one of the largest shareholders in Hertz, the rental car company. Meanwhile, Cummins, which is famous for its diesel engines, is buying Meritor for $3.7 billion. Interestingly, Cummins is buying Meritor for the axles and brakes it makes for hybrid and electric powertrains. Tom Linebarger, the CEO of Cummins, is a climate change evangelist. He says, and I quote, "Climate change is the existential crisis of our time. We can't leave it to our kids." He's leading Cummins into electric and hydrogen powertrains and is even calling for stricter NOx and CO2 emission standards on diesel engines. And we've got a great show tomorrow on Autoline After Hours. It's all about Ford's e-Transit van and that new business unit at Ford called Ford Pro. Tim Bauman, the general manager of Ford Pro in North America, will be on the show, and so will Chad Kirchner from EV Pulse. Can the electric Transit see the same kind of success as the Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning? Join John and Gary tomorrow to find out. That may be it for today, but we'll be right back here again tomorrow. And if you like our content, please give it a like, comment. We may even use what you say in the show, or subscribe. It really does help us out.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Scheffler, we pioneer motion.